What's up, tea weirdos? This is James.
And this is Denny from TeaDB, where my sweet lines are being stolen. We've got some Poonizzle my shizzle.
Tea freakamabobs.
Episode 308.
Yep.
Deal with it. Feeling sassy today, y'all. We got some old poo from...
this is from Teas We Like.
Chenyuan Hao.
Chenyuan Hao.
Sorry, I tried.
Sometimes Denny just makes up.
It was a guess.
Yeah.
CYH. I mean, that was a decent guess.
Oh, you're just reading the line. I actually don't know what that says.
Well, then that was a total guess.
It's a Six Famous Mountains blend, Shanzhong.
That was old.
Yeah, so 2005, stored in Taiwan.
Smells so medicinal. I'm just smelling. There's nothing in here. I'm just smelling the wrapper.
Snorting some Pu'erh dust.
Probably, actually.
That's my preferred drug.
Yeah. Cool. What kind of dust is that? Pu'erh dust.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got some
Well,
powder,
angel
bro.
dust, but fair enough.
Yeah.
We do not condone drug use on this channel, by the way. Only tea use.
But tune in for April Fools.
No, we're not doing that. Anyway, yeah, smells old. Smells super medicinal. Get that kind of viney, old timer smell. Smells pretty clean. I can smell like some sweetness on that too. A little plum. Cool. Looking forward to this. Have you had this yet, James?
I have had it once.
Okay.
And I had it from a different storage.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was a lot...
drier?
No, the opposite.
Oh.
A lot danker, a lot more basement-y. So
Excuse me,
I
when
was
that?
actually not a fan of that. I had it a couple of years back. So I am excited to try this tea from, I think, presumably a little bit more dry conditions.
Interesting, because Taiwan can certainly be a wet place.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. And I guess it was sort of like, if this is the mean, then I was having one that was far this end, and this one might be closer to the mean a little bit this way.
Yeah.
So
beautiful color. Nice gold.
Yeah, honey gold.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. It's gonna be hot.
Cheers.
These teas blow me away because they're so, like, I'm getting the medicinal vibe eventually there. So as I'm talking and thinking about it, but these older, kind of 12, 15-year-old pu'erhs really have a sweetness that comes out. It's just delightful. And it's unique. It's hard to get to that place if you haven't... There's not a lot of fresh tea that can get that sweet flavor out of it, which is too bad because it's a little bit harder to get some of these teas. A bit more pricey, but I love the sweetness on these. Yeah,
and as you said, it's a very unique sweetness that you really can only get through aging, I think, for some of these at least.
Still light. Has that, like... I don't want to say...
It's a little bit of, sort of rotting fruits, fruits that are a little bit overly ripe, I guess you would say.
It's not quite medicinal. It's not quite menthol-y, but that sort of potent flavor profile. Almost like an elixir.
Fruity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a bit.
A little... I said plummy on the nose. I'm not sure if that's showing up too much. Yeah. Almost like pear. Beautiful deep color there.
So getting a little darker. Mm-hmm. So I'm using up the sample, and there's a little bit less left than I would normally use for a session. I'm using like 5.3, 5.4 grams. I would normally use 6. So I'm just steeping it for just a hot second longer.
One of the brilliant things about these teas is that you, whoever, you're going to sit there and just continue to taste it.
Smells great. Definitely smells at least somewhat aged, kind of like leather almost, like these sweeter aromas, maybe a little bit of fruit in there as well.
Yeah, I'm actually getting more fruit on the nose than I am on the cup, but we'll see.
Yeah. And it looks like the leaves are opening up quite a bit from the compression. So I think this is the last tea we were saying that, you know, you get 3 or 4 really active steeps and then it might last 7 or 8.
Yeah.
This tea, it'll last longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Almost a fruit roll-up-y kind of a thing going on. Little hints of raspberry.
Yeah. And who doesn't like fruit roll-ups?
If you don't like fruit roll-ups,
Subscribe.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Cheers. Sweet, not super viscous, not super syrupy, but juicy.
Get a little bit of the bite back here, for me at least. A little bitterness, a little astringency.
Yeah, but it's light.
Very manageable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like gut-wrenching or potent per se. I mean, some of those younger raws just like, blah. But, surprisingly sweet.
Would you say that,
Almost grapey.
like, that aftertaste is like maybe I'd almost say the aftertaste is the sweetest part for me. Like the way it lingers.
You know, I mean, for me, it's definitely on the kind of immediate front. I think because of some of those earthy and kind of complex and almost peaty flavors definitely linger for me. So I get kind of a strong front sweetness. I think there's definitely like hints of fruit that are residual as well. Good, beautiful, fairly consistent in the saturation and the color there. Really good. I'm trying to nail that fruit. It's a little raspberry to me.
Interesting. Getting this out of the way now. Mom test, no. Moving on.
Yeah, but I will say this. Well, okay, no. I was sitting here and it was like, okay, it's getting more of the... Now I'm tasting more of the bitterness, and it's nice, it's strong, it's potent. You definitely... Yeah, it's not as familiar of a flavor profile and probably a little bit more... a little bit of a stronger profile than typical.
Yeah, I think it's too bitter and it's too foreign, mainly. Like, the taste is not a normal one that people are used to.
Yeah.
You know, people have been requesting the dad test, but I'm not really sure how that's that different from the mom test. So, I'm not sure what to think on that one.
I feel like the Ron Swanson test. What would Ron Swanson think? I've never actually seen that show. I've only seen
I also
memes.
have not seen that show.
Anyway. Cheers. I was loving how sweet this is. I think it's a beautiful contrast to the bitterness and...
I feel like it's moving more into the woody menthol category, away from the fruits now.
Yeah. Saccharine and then, boom, earthy. And, it's nice. Woody for sure. Yeah. Are you tasting the leather as much?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. What about you?
Now more, but then before, I think we're smelling it. Whereas now I think I'm tasting a bit more. Really lovely. Is this kind of procurable, James? Can people actually...
Yeah, this is being sold by the folks over at Teas We Like.
Cool.
It's not cheap. I forget what it was exactly, 300 something. Or maybe it's 200 something. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's not not something that you would just go to the grocery store and spend that kind of money for. So
This is a special tea.
yes.
And
Yeah. I mean, it's like a good tea from a famous producer that is also aged and has been stored reasonably well. So
kind of a surefire hit. And hey, coincidentally, it tastes great.
yeah. Well, I would hope it would taste great too.
Okay, steeping number 4. 5? 4.
4? 4? 4, 5.
Four.
5?
5. 5.
So, Denny, when would you drink this tea? Like, when's the right time for you to have a tea such as this one?
I'd say like later in the day, definitely. If I wanted to pick me up, especially, I think this is a clarifying tea. So I'd say after maybe a big lunch, if you were to have it, or even an early fatty meal, if you had like a supper and you finish the day with something like this. Really good. Wouldn't want to drink this in the morning. I think it deserves a little bit more attention than my waking up taste buds be able to give it. So, yeah, I'd say something like that. Definitely is a unique tea. I would probably want to drink this with some friends who can enjoy it with me if I can. Unfortunately, I have too many of the friends who really love these weird teas, but yeah.
So you're saying you have friends that have terrible taste in things in life?
Every one of you out there.
Don't worry, they're not watching the show. And if they are, subscribe.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's really, really pleasant. And yeah, very much you want to give this some attention. I'd say a tea that wouldn't be approachable unless you had a bit of a background in tea.
And I think it really is a pretty strong tea too. Like, just, I don't know, like in just the overall potency of it.
Absolutely.
It's like a little bitter, but not overly so. But it's strong.
I think it's wonderfully dynamic. It still has like a nice sweetness, although it's dying off a little bit. Definitely flows into a bitterness and an earthiness.
Yeah.
I think it has interesting notes of fruit on the front. That still seem to persist a little bit. So yeah, a really beautifully dynamic tea. Definitely share this with some friends who are into it. Tough to get this tea for a reasonable price without buying a ton of it, but it probably will continue to improve and get even more lovely. So.
It's a good quality tea. It's aged, so those are not easy to come by. How about some of the other characteristics that we sometimes get from Pu'erhs, like depth or like filling the tea in your chest?
For me, this is a higher, lighter noted tea for an aged Pu'erh. It still has potency, but it's not something that's like deep in here as much. I think it's a clarifying tea, like I said earlier. So in the sense that it brings you to attention as opposed to sort of like put you down. Mm-hmm. So I'd say that it's I'm not tasting it quite as much as like deep in my belly necessarily. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a warming tea. I think it's but with all that being said, it's really up to you folks what you enjoy the most.
Yeah. Right.
If folks want to learn more about T. James, make sure that you get with our technical difficulties aside.
Come check us out at TDB.org. Check out the folks over at Teas We Like at teaswelike.com, or just Google them. I think Denny and I both really enjoyed this tea.
Really did,
and they have a lot of other teas. Not all of them are this expensive either. So definitely some more, affordable options to check out as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe as well. And we will see you all next time.
Cheers.